the most part, Goku has always been weaker than those he calls peers. Not always, but he does tend to start out that way. Raditz was the weakest of all remaining Saiyans, and Goku's power level at most was half of Raditz's, but despite this, Goku's potential surpasses them all. Even Vegeta, who was thought to be the strongest Saiyan on the planet that shares his name, not counting Broly. Despite that, and despite the fact that anyone could have been turned into the Super Saiyan God, it was Goku that Beerus dreamed of. Goku has always been special, and now I want to explore a world where Goku might have been a little more special than anyone could have thought. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Planet Vegeta floated out in the midst of space. The dark, starry background possessing little stars and some color to accentuate the void in which the planet floated. This was home to the Saiyans, a warrior race whose whole culture revolved around fighting and conquering. A destructive race. One might think that they would bring themselves the favor of Beerus the Destroyer, but all in all, he found them detestable. Beerus may have seemed frivolous when it came to destroying things, but he destroyed with a purpose, and generally, it was good. The Saiyans conquered for no other reason than pride and a sense of superiority. They were not the same. Despite this though, even the prideful Saiyans might have some use. After all, if Beerus could recruit Frieza to be an agent of destruction, maybe he could recruit the Saiyans as well. That's what he was here to do. As he came down planetside, his reputation preceded him, and he was met immediately with royal guards. They would lead him in where he had an entire banquet spread out upon a large dining table, but now was not the time for that. Right now, he needed to see if the Saiyans could be useful to him or not. "How has your mission come?" Beerus asked King Vegeta.
"Mission? Oh, you mean for the most comfortable pillow in all the universe?"
Beerus rolled his eyes. "Yes, of course. It's not like I gave you any other mission." King Vegeta nodded. He snapped his fingers and a pillow was brought to him. King Vegeta presented it to Beerus. Beerus lifted the pillow up. He felt it. It was plush indeed, one of the softest he had ever felt, one he would have been pleased with had it actually been what he asked for. Looking into the eyes of the Saiyan King, he knew all too well what had happened. Looking down at the pillow, he thought about it. Anyone would be pleased with a pillow like this. The king would easily have loved this pillow, yet he gave it away and kept the true most comfortable pillow for himself. It was not about the pillow anymore, but about the Saiyan race's inability to care about anything beyond itself. He threw the pillow back. "You Saiyan swine, this isn't the most comfortable. You have the most comfortable pillow locked away in your own chambers, don't you?" King Vegeta raised his hands.
"No, sir. No, this is the..."
"Don't lie to me. I can see it in your eyes." Whis raised his staff and looked into it. "I can validate that your theory is correct, my lord," Whis said. King Vegeta was terrified that he'd been found out. He ordered that the true pillow be brought down to Beerus, which it was. By this time, the excitement for the pillow was spoiled. Beerus took the pillow anyway and proceeded to hand both the best and second best to Whis as King Vegeta subjugated himself for punishment. Beerus put his foot upon King Vegeta. At this point, the Saiyans were only useful to him as a piece of furniture. He would have to destroy them at some point. Beerus began eating as he did not wish to let the food go to waste. It was at about this time that the Saiyan prince ran into the room. He seemed filled with wrathful intent, likely to attack the destroyer for his mistreatment of his father. More useless pride. Beerus glared at the prince, giving him only a taste of his killing intent, which was enough to paralyze the boy. As Vegeta fell to the ground, Beerus continued his meal. It was then that he stopped. Something had been irking him ever since he got here, but he wasn't so sure what it was. All of a sudden, it had become a bit more clear. He looked up at Whis, who had also felt it. Beerus stood. "Stand up, King," he told King Vegeta. "Where are you keeping the next generation of Saiyans?"
"In the nursing pods, of course."
"Lead me to them," Beerus spoke. King Vegeta began to lead the cat and his attendant to where the children were being held. Beerus looked through them, all while King Vegeta couldn't be sure what Beerus would want here. "No, it's not here." Beerus began to hover in the air. "Where is it?" He put a hole through the ceiling. Beerus went through. He was followed not long after by King Vegeta and Whis. Beerus looked around and followed this odd sensation out toward the suburbs. Once he had reached it, he found a small hut. He landed and walked inside to see a young woman, an elderly woman who likely was her mother or something, and a young man sleeping with a newspaper on his face. The woman was surprised. She threw something at her husband. "Bardock, wake up, wake up!" The young man sat forward as the paper fell from his face. He looked over. He blinked a couple times to ensure what he was seeing was actually what he was seeing.
King Vegeta? And who are these others? What brings you to our home?
King Vegeta looked at Bardock.
Would it that I knew? The destroyer wished to pay you a visit.
Is there another in this house? He asked. Jine looked to her mother and then to Bardock. No, nobody else except our young son, Kakarot. Take me to him, Beerus said. They led Beerus to the back where the child-rearing pod was located. Beerus looked the pod over. King Vegeta walked over to the child and began to scan his power level. The machine said 0.
Weak child should be sent off planet. His power level's so low the machine can't even pick it up.
Beerus looked to King Vegeta. Be silent. Beerus looked into the pod at the child and then to Whis. How is this possible, Whis? He asked. Whis wasn't sure. He began to do some research. Historically speaking, he's not the first Saiyan to possess divine energy. This race seems as though it's capable of attaining divine energy through a ritual, which is an unusual method. Saiyans are the only ones capable of this feat. Beerus thought on it. How do you suppose this could be? Whis shrugged. It's possible that there just so happened to be 5 kind Saiyans in the room during the child's birth, pouring energy into him. Even still, it is undeniable. This child has divine energy. King Vegeta was confused, as were Jine and Bardock.
What do you mean?
King Vegeta said. Beerus turned toward them. It means I'm taking this child with me.
Like hell you are, Bardock said
as he rushed toward Beerus. Beerus caught his fist. Whis, I grow tired of this race. Collect the child. I have business to attend to. Whis would take the child with him and disappear. Beerus would then hold out his hand and utilize Hawkeye on everyone in the room. He would then float up into the atmosphere, looking down upon the inhabitants of the planet. Normally, he would send Frieza to destroy a race like this, but Beerus had been provoked, and now he would show them the value of their pride. Raising his hand up into the air, he would form a massive sphere of destruction and would cast it down to the planet below. It would collide with the planet and cause a chain reaction that resulted in the planet's destruction. As they watched the planet's inhabitants' lives all fade, Beerus spoke. Whis, I'm tired. Take me home. Whis would tap his staff twice. As you wish, my lord. Suddenly, they were all enveloped in a light and rushed away in a streak like a shooting star. Returning to his home, Beerus stretched. He looked at the little one. Interesting child. Kakarot, they said. To be born with divine energy gives him far more potential than any of those other Saiyans. But he'll need to learn to utilize that. You should train him, Whis. Whis was surprised. You know I can only train destroyers, my lord. Beerus nodded. This one will be a destroyer candidate. And if anything happens to me, or if I decide to retire, this one can take my place. Not to mention, you can help keep balance in the universe while I sleep. Ah, Whis began to understand. You simply wish to have someone do all your work for you while you laze about. I prefer to call it an internship. Not to mention that it's been quite some time since anyone ever gave me a real run for my money in a fight. Whis then cleared his throat. Beerus stumbled over his words. I mean, it's been a while before anyone besides you gave me a run for my money. If you wish me to train the child, I will, but I cannot guarantee that he won't end up stronger than you. And if he does, don't think that I won't urge him to usurp you. Beerus looked at Whis. And don't think that I won't destroy him before it gets to that point. Whis smiled. First to the finish then. Beerus smiled. I'm gonna go take a nap. Make this child into a worthy warrior. Beerus walked off. Whis was left with the child. Truth be known, the boy was a bit too young for training as it currently stood, and there was no way that it could retain all the information he would try to fill its head with. So he would need to raise it for a little while until its rational mind developed enough for it to make progress physically and mentally. All of that could occur during the time Beerus was asleep though. Eventually, the child grew old enough to begin its training, and that's exactly what Whis would do. Despite having divine energy, the child's natural power level was still exceptionally low, and it only came out as barely stronger than most adult Saiyans. Whis had to begin with training. First things first though, he needed to awaken some of this child's latent power. Legends spoke of a legendary Super Saiyan of old, who happened to be recorded as the first Saiyan to naturally awaken divine energy. So Whis opened the child's potential to grant it access to the Super Saiyan transformation. As soon as he did though, the child's hair immediately turned blue. Odd, I thought it was supposed to be gold. Perhaps the divine energy is reacting with this transformation's color. By this time, Goku had become an adult. Beerus would wake up and go to check Goku out. He would circle around him. Is this your full power? He asked him as Goku stood in his Super Saiyan Blue transformation. Yes, sir. Beerus would poke at his muscles. You might be closing in on Supreme Kai's level, but you still have a long way to go. Are you unimpressed, my lord? Whis asked. Beerus stood there silently. You've been going easy on him, haven't you? Whis offered a smile. He was but a child. I was afraid you would push him too hard and kill him if I gave him the same training as I gave you. Beerus looked at Whis. You need to push him hard if you want him to grow fast. That's the thing I learned about Saiyans while they still existed. If you push them, they grow. So long as it doesn't kill them, it makes them stronger. I think we need a test, Beerus said. And what kind of test were you thinking, Whis asked. Beerus looked him over. I think he needs to face Frieza. Frieza? Whis asked with a hint of confusion. Is Frieza not one of your agents of destruction? Beerus nodded. Indeed. But he's no better than the Saiyans. He has incredible potential himself, but he'll squander it on attempting to become a universal emperor. Besides, his personality annoys me. Destroy him, Kakarot. If you do, your training will continue. And if I fail? Goku asked with a hint of fear in his voice. Beerus glared at him. Don't fail. Beerus began to walk off. Whis, take him to his destination and do not help him win. Simply watch. I will wait for your report. Whis looked to Goku. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You just need to pay mind to what I've taught you and you should come out on top. Whis then looked into his staff. Now, where are you? Whis began to gaze through the cosmos with his staff. Ah, planet Namek. Apparently Frieza has learned of this new concept known as the Dragon Balls. Apparently they grant whatever wish the user wants within reason. Are you ready to go? Shall I take you? Goku thought on it for a second. Well, there's no reason why I shouldn't. If we do it now, we might get back before supper. Whis smiled. Then let's go. With a sparkle of light, they suddenly disappeared. They traveled through space until they landed on Namek. Goku looked around at the green that was everywhere. Everything was green. The grass, the trees, the water, even the sky. It truly was a beautiful planet, but Goku was here for a reason, and that reason was to destroy Frieza. So Goku made his way to Frieza's ship under the advice of Whis. There, he proceeded to destroy all of those who would get in the way. He proceeded to wait for Frieza to return to his ship. Luckily, some of the Dragon Balls had been gathered here already. As he waited, Frieza eventually showed up with Zarbon and Dodoria. They looked up to see the spiky-haired Saiyan standing there.
Who are you supposed to be?
Dodoria asked. I am Kakarot, the latest destroyer candidate for Universe 7. Goku stands and drops down to Frieza. I've come to inform you that your time has come. Frieza immediately grew terrified.
What?
Goku spoke again. You are to be destroyed by me today. Whis then appeared. We'll make a deal with you. If you manage to defeat Goku, Beerus will spare you and let you continue. However, if you lose, Kakarot will destroy you. Frieza then looked at Zarbon and Dodoria. He gave them a nod to tell them to stay out of the battle. Frieza then looked at Kakarot. Considering that you are likely far stronger than I in this form, can I just go straight to my final form? Kakarot shrugged. If it gets the battle over quicker. Frieza proceeded to dig deeper into his ki well to not only achieve his final form, but to pump it full of ki. Goku then proceeded to go straight into Super Saiyan Blue. Frieza, with terror in his eyes, asked if this were the legendary Super Saiyan state, and Goku informed him that it was that and more. Frieza, terrified, took a defensive stance.
All right, fine. Let's go, monkey,
he shouted. Suddenly, Goku launched into battle with him. He punched at Frieza, but Frieza crossed his arms and blocked the attack. As soon as Frieza felt the attack, a sly smile crossed his lips.
You're a destroyer in training. Is this truly your full power?
Whis then called up to Frieza. It wouldn't be a test if it were easy. Frieza's smile turned into a grin.
Then it means I still have a shot.
The two continued attacking one another. His full power form gave him extra strength, but it robbed him of his speed. This is what put Frieza at the disadvantage. Goku had power and speed, but Frieza was of the mind to believe that he had superior intellect, which would mean that even at a disadvantage, he could turn it into an advantage if Goku got sloppy. Goku would smile. He had learned many techniques in his time, including one that Whis had cataloged from Earth. He pulled his hands back.
Kamehameha!
A little note from me. I know it seems strange to give Goku Kamehameha considering he's never been to Earth, but for real, do you expect not to see Goku use Kamehameha in this video? Frieza saw it coming. A beam struggle. This is perfect. He would charge his ki in both his hands before pushing his hands forward and releasing it all in a single flowing beam. The beams would collide. It was here where Frieza proved that he still had a slight physical advantage over Goku, but as he did, Goku remembered what Whis had told him. Sometimes it doesn't matter if your opponent has more energy than you if you know how to use yours better. Indeed, Frieza was a bit stronger than Goku, but this would not stop him. As the beam began to push him back, Goku suddenly stopped the struggle and dodged to the side, letting the blast go by him, giving him the cleanest shave he ever had. Frieza saw this and then saw him charging another Kamehameha. Frieza prepared a new attack. He fired more beams, but Goku dodged them. He rushed at Frieza as he charged the Kamehameha in his hands. Frieza would fire another massive blast and Goku would jump over it. Goku focused his beam. Instead of a wide beam, he would shorten its range a little bit to put a bit more volume into the blast. He fired down at Frieza. The blast ate through Frieza, killing him. But unforeseen circumstances saw the blast pass through the ground as well, going straight to the core of Namek. The planet's core was breached. Goku stood there as he felt the entire planet rumble. Whis watched and shook his head. "Oh, Kakarot, what am I gonna do with you?" He would grab Goku and protect him with a bubble so that as the planet exploded, the two of them would be fine. They pulled into space a good distance away and watched as the planet erupted into flames and then burst apart. After this, they would return to Beerus' planet where they would meet with Beerus in the throne room. "So tell me, Whis, did he pass?" Whis nodded. He did, but he unintentionally destroyed the planet he was fighting on. Whis displayed the footage for Beerus to examine personally. Beerus watched it all. Well, I would give him maybe a B-, but still a passing grade, if only barely." Goku let out a sigh of relief. "But you will need to teach him better control. If he can't control his ki down to the very last unit, then he's useless to me." Whis nodded. "Yes, milord." Beerus stood. "I think I'm gonna return to my chambers to nap a bit more. Inform me when he's ready for the next test." Whis watched him leave. Whis turned to him. "Come with me, Kakarot. We're going to begin training now. I think it's time I took your training up a notch." Goku would nod and follow. Having gone outside, they continued to train. Whis began to teach Goku proper ki control in that he wanted to show him how to curve a blast he had fired and make it go where he wanted it to go, and even how to nullify ki blasts. As Goku grew stronger, Whis began to teach him how to make muscle memory of everything. When you no longer have to think when you fight, you will be able to become almost 100% efficient in battle, and efficiency is key. As they continued to fight, Whis even began to teach Goku how to utilize Hawkeye energy. Goku was making leaps and bounds in his training, and was already close to being what Whis wanted him to be. But as the years passed, Beerus would once again wake up. He would walk around Goku again, inspecting every inch of his power. "I must admit, Whis, you've done well. While he may not be at my level yet, he most definitely has reached the point where he could be a destroyer if he needed to. Or so I think. He still needs to pass a test." "Another test, my lord?" Whis asked. Beerus nodded. "There's one other being in this universe who could be considered destroyer level." Whis thought about it. "Do you mean?" Beerus nodded. "Majin Buu. Buu has been destroying things since before even I became a destroyer. He nearly killed all of the Supreme Kai on his own, and would have too if not for the fact that his absorption of them began to weaken him. And that's what I want now, Whis. I want you to take Kakarot to Majin Buu and awaken him. I want you to put him in his most primal form and give him all the power he needs. And then I want Goku to destroy him. If Goku can do that, I'll consider him a worthy enough candidate to even take the title of destroyer, should he ever be required to do so." Whis nodded. "I believe the location for battle is Earth?" Beerus asked. Whis once more nodded. "I will take him at once." And so Goku and Whis would travel to Earth to face Majin Buu. When they got to Earth, they found it as a desolate wasteland, devoid of all life and barely livable. "Wow," Goku said, looking at the devastation. "Did Majin Buu do all of this?" Whis shook his head. "No, he didn't. This was the inhabitants of Earth's doing." Whis began to show Goku the pass through his staff. "It started out a long time ago with Demon King Piccolo. He subjugated the entirety of the world. The Red Ribbon Army resisted him along with the rest of Earth, hoping to set up their own world domination. But King Piccolo was too strong and wiped them all out. All except one man, Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero began to work on the ultimate androids to defeat Piccolo and created the two beings known as Android 17 and 18. But beyond these two, he created a bio-android named Cell. After Piccolo was defeated, Cell absorbed Androids 17 and 18 to reach a perfect state. "What happened next?" Goku asked. Whis looked into his staff. "Interesting. It seems that Dabura and Babidi came to Earth. You probably don't know who they are, but Dabura is the current king of the Demon Realm, and Babidi is the son of the last wizard to use Majin Buu. It seems that they lured Cell into donating energy to awaken Buu in the promise of a thrilling fight. Cell took the bait and helped them awaken the Majin. Majin Buu then seemingly killed Cell and even turned on Babidi and Dabura, killing them too. It seems that Buu is the only one left on Earth and spends his days eating candy and sleeping." "Kinda like someone else we know," Goku said with a smile. Whis couldn't help but laugh. It was true. Whis nodded. "The good thing is, I know his location now. Let's go." Goku and Whis began to make their way toward where Majin Buu was supposed to be located. There they found a little building. It was odd. It didn't look too far removed from the homes on Namek. Whis would call up the attention of Majin Buu. Slowly, the round Majin came walking out. "Wait, that's the strongest monster in the universe besides Beerus?" Whis looked to Goku. "Don't worry, he's pacified right now. I'll fix that. Whis, with a wave of his staff, would remove all of the Supreme Kai from Majin Buu, sending the Kai back to the realm of the Kai. He would then utilize the same ability he had used to help Goku awaken his Super Saiyan form and would unlock all of Buu's latent power. All of this together reverted him back to his pure form, a small yet menacing creature that was sure to kill whatever it came into contact with. Goku, terrified of this thing and the massive amounts of power emanating from it, spoke to Whis. Whis, what is that thing? Whis chuckled. Did you think it was going to be easy? Goku shook his head. No, but I still sense divine energy coming off of it, and the amount of power you just awakened, it surpasses all I'm currently capable of. Whis thought about it. Well, adversity makes for a good teacher. Beerus was clear that you should not return unless you defeated this monster, and I don't think his demand will change based on it being a little stronger than expected. As a destroyer, you will be expected to be the strongest warrior in your universe. If you don't think this Majin can be defeated, then let him kill you here, because I'm telling you, you'll fare far better with this Majin than you will with Beerus. Goku gulped and activated his Super Saiyan Blue form. He stepped out in front of Whis as the Majin looked at him with a grin. Goku looked back. Whis gave him a thumbs up. Goku reluctantly returned the gesture before walking closer to the creature. It watched him draw closer and closer with a sadistic smile on his face. When he was no more than 20 feet from it, it began to woot and beat its chest like a gorilla. Then it suddenly disappeared from view and reappeared behind Goku, kicking him in the back. Goku was launched forward and skidded across the ground on his face. He sat up and spit out wads of grass and dirt. He turned around to see Kid Buu coming at him again. This time, Goku managed to catch the attack. It was planned to be a kick to the face. He caught it no more than 6 inches from his face. Suddenly, Buu's foot stretched and struck Goku in the noggin. Goku was knocked back. Feeling himself growing angrier and angrier, Goku got up, rushed at Majin Buu, and began to swing his fists wildly. None of his shots connected though. Majin Buu was just on a whole other level. This amount of power and speed was beyond anything he had witnessed thus far, save for Whis. On one lucky occasion, his fist struck Buu in the face, sending his head flying backwards, his neck like an extending rubber band. And just like a rubber band, his head snapped back and struck Goku. This went on for a time, but eventually Goku ended up getting worn down by the battle, and Buu seemed like he could just keep going. Buu, seeing that his fun was almost over, rose into the air and prepared a giant death ball that he planned to use to destroy the world. And at ground zero was Goku. Buu smiled as he threw it down. He came rushing down at Goku, who tried to catch and defuse it, but it was far too strong. He wasn't sure he could do it. I need to neutralize this ki blast, he shouted to himself as he tried and failed to do so. Suddenly something happened. He felt his limits shatter. Buu watched the ball descend to the ground. He saw it getting larger, like it might explode. Truth be known, he wanted it to go to the center. But even though it wouldn't, that was fine, so long as it wiped out everything on the surface. The orb grew to a critical state. Suddenly, it vanished as Goku absorbed it. Majin Buu was astounded when he saw that happen. Goku appeared to no longer be in any transformation. Yet when he opened his eyes and displayed his aura, it was clear that he was. Whis' eyes widened and his jaw dropped. Goku did it! He managed to learn Ultra Instinct. Goku looked at this new power and then back at Buu. Buu prepared a volley of ki blasts that Goku merely avoided by walking away from them. As soon as the blast stopped, Goku utilized his incredible speed to teleport behind Majin Buu and put him down on the ground. Buu launched back up at him and began to strike out, but Goku dodged every strike. He blasted Buu back. He prepared to fire a Kamehameha, but Buu was ready. Buu jumped out the side. He did not know, however, that Goku had anticipated this and had launched his ki blast in that direction. Buu was disoriented. He was trying to come back together, but he was in a bad state. Goku decided, or more so his body did, to rush at Buu and strike him, capitalizing on his weakness. Putting Buu on the ground, Goku landed atop and held out his hand. Hawkeye! Slowly but surely, Buu began to disappear. With his opponent defeated, Goku dropped out of the transformation and fell on his back to rest. Whis approached him, impressed. What you just used was Ultra Instinct. I've only been teaching you the basics, but you're already ready to master it. We've been severely underestimating your power. We should return to Beerus and tell him about this new development. And so they flew off back to Beerus' planet. Whis proceeded to tell Beerus everything. Beerus was surprised to hear that Goku had managed to utilize Ultra Instinct. You defeated the Majin and even used Ultra Instinct. I must say, I'm impressed, Goku. You could make a worthy candidate to replace me one day. Keep up the training and take some time to relax. You've earned it. Beerus then left. Whis didn't wish to stop though. No, I think you want to do a bit more training. He took Goku out. Whis began searching for opponents for Goku to fight, someone incredibly strong. That was when he discovered that on a distant planet called Vampa, there was a powerful Saiyan named Broly, who had just escaped the destruction of his world. There. We'll go there. If this Saiyan is as strong as he seems, he'll be the perfect opponent for you. And so, Whis took Goku to planet Vampa, where he proceeded to call out Broly. Whis looked him over and unlocked Broly's latent power. Suddenly, Broly turned into a Super Saiyan and began to rampage. Whis gave them room as Goku activated Ultra Instinct Omen to fight against him. Broly, in his Super Saiyan form, would grab Goku by the face and throw him into a nearby wall. Goku would try to break free, but as he did, Broly was already on him again. Broly kicked Goku in the chest and began to knock him through the wall. Goku passed through what felt like an entire mountain before he managed to get control again. As their battle continued, Goku managed to make contact with Broly's face. Broly's head craned back on his neck before resisting the strike. He began to pull his head back down. Goku was amazed. He began to wonder if this Saiyan could have even more potential than him. It was then, as if his very thoughts had summoned forth Broly's true potential, that Broly's hair turned green. Broly had achieved his full power form, the full strength of his potential brought to bear. Goku began to be ragdolled by Broly, thrown about like a plaything. Goku began to wonder if this was it. Was this the end? Even his Ultra Instinct wasn't enough. No, he wouldn't let it be so. He stood and continued to fight. He willed himself to punch faster, strike harder, and bear the worst of the attacks. And as he pushed himself beyond, suddenly, it happened. He broke through another limit. His hair began to turn silver, as did his eyes. He was now faster and stronger than Broly. He proceeded to show him his full power. He slipped under Broly and swept his legs out from under him. As Broly lay there sprawled out, Goku formed a Hawkeye ball in his hand and pushed it in Broly's direction. As if sensing impending doom, Broly let out a cry and returned to his senses. However, before Goku could kill Broly, he stopped. Goku decided to spare Broly. He had rather enjoyed this battle, and so he wanted to let him live. He would always need to push himself to become stronger, and Broly would be the perfect foil. Whis clapped his hands as he watched. Good work, Goku. And to see you master the Ultra Instinct state like that, all while bursting through your self-limiting shell into deeper power, I think you're ready. Ready for what? Goku asked. Whis smiled. Why, ready to usurp Beerus and take his place. Goku was startled. I'm gonna take his place? Whis nodded. I think you could take Beerus now. Even Beerus can't master Ultra Instinct, yet you have. I think you have a good chance of defeating him. Goku stood there. If I fail, I'll die. Whis nodded. But if you succeed, you'll prove yourself to be the strongest person in all of Universe 7. Barring myself, of course. Goku thought about it. He nodded his head. Well, let's give it a go then. And so, Whis and Goku returned to Beerus' world. Upon their return, Whis called Beerus to them. What is it, Whis? Whis then looked at Goku. Kakarot here is trained non-stop. He would like to challenge you for your spot as Destroyer. Beerus seemed enraged. Is that so? He defeats a pink stick of bubblegum and thinks he's all that, huh? Well, if he wants to die so badly, then let him try. Beerus surrounded himself in his aura of destruction. Goku wasted no time and went straight into Mastered Ultra Instinct. He rose into the air to meet Beerus. Impressive. You might be a worthy opponent after all, but don't get a big head. I still have plenty of tricks up my sleeve. Beerus would bid Goku to attack. Goku would rush in and strike out at Beerus, only for Beerus to dodge and strike out at Goku. Goku's body instinctively dodged to the side. Beerus would then go on the offensive, striking relentlessly. Goku would continue dodging. Ultra Instinct may be powerful, but I know for a fact that it's murder on your stamina. How long can you hold on, Kakarot? Despite the fact that Goku had yet to be harmed by Beerus, Beerus did have a point. Ultra Instinct was indeed slowly but surely tanking all of his stamina. He would need to end this soon if he were to win. He had to remember everything Whis taught him. Goku managed to slip around Beerus and grab him by the tail. He would begin swinging Beerus around by it over and over again before throwing him into the ground. Goku dropped down on top of him and began pummeling him over and over again. Beerus would kick him off. His eyes would now turn silver as well, as a new type of aura would surround him. Beerus' Ultra Instinct still was not perfected, but given that he had a significant power advantage over Goku, it at least leveled the playing field. The two of them began to strike at each other so fast that you couldn't even see them move. It looked like they were just staring at each other as pops of energy and sonic bursts could be seen, heard, and felt all around them. As they continued punching, they both kept digging deeper and deeper into their energy wells. Suddenly, Beerus was knocked back. Goku was on him in a minute. Beerus rolled back as he dodged Goku's strike and went on the offensive. He began pushing Goku back again with strikes so fast that even Goku's Ultra Instinct was struggling to keep up. The issue here is that Goku was pushing Beerus beyond his limits, and that had ended with Beerus eventually mastering Ultra Instinct. Beerus went on the offensive and Goku began to lose ground. We saw this and smiled. It was perfect. Just as planned, Goku had pushed Beerus to become even stronger. These two were firecrackers that fueled off each other's rivalry. Beerus would eventually sweep Goku's leg, knocking him off balance before putting 2 fists into his chest. Goku went flying back, and before he could get up, Beerus was on top of him. He would pin him and raise his hand, coated in Hawkeye energy. Goku was defeated. There was no way for him to win now. He dropped out of his transformation. Beerus was ready to end it, but eventually he also dropped out of his transformation. Goku was confused. "Aren't you gonna kill me?" he asked. Beerus shook his head. "No, Kakarot, I've decided to spare you. You pushed me to go deeper than I ever have before, and helped me to awaken a power I thought beyond my grasp. You offer me something more than Whis can, and this is a true rivalry. I can practice with Whis, but if I slip up with you, I'm dead. I think I could use someone like that around here." He offered Goku a hand, and Goku would take it. Beerus would smile. "Still a destroyer candidate, but I know that whenever I decide to retire, the position will be in good hands." Goku smiled. Beerus stretched. "Well, that was intense. Who's ready for something to eat? Whis, cook us up something tasty." Whis smiled. "As you wish, my lord." And that's where I think I'll call it. So, what did you think? Did you like the video? Goku in this video was a bit more serious than in the series, but that's because he never did hit his head. Without that, his Saiyan instincts remain intact, and he'll have no qualms about killing anyone. Of course, I know some of you might not be too happy with how Goku and Broly got Super Saiyan, but I'm basing it on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. In the Battle of Gods DLC, if you train with Whis and haven't unlocked Super Saiyan yet, he'll actually unlock your potential and give you Super Saiyan before Goku can technically learn it. So I assumed it would be best to include something like that in this. But what do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified as new videos like this one drop. And while you're waiting, could I interest you in these videos here? Until next time, peace out.